Hey guys, welcome to our spoiler-filled movie review for Shazam. If you want the non-spoiler version, watch my vlog that I put up before this. But for this version, I watched the film, of course, with Alex and Del. Other Joe was at a wedding, so he didn't see it, but he'll see it again in 2 weeks, because I'm going to watch this again in 2 weeks. So if you saw my vlog, you know I absolutely love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Shazam is so good. It is wish fulfillment for every person that ever had sort of your inner child. And this was me running around. I would have loved this film as a kid. I love it now. Just wanting to be Superman. And this is a perfect origin story of the character. Fantastically realized who Billy Batson is, what's important to him, what happens when a 14-year-old boy gets huge muscles, a big body, superpowers, and exploring it. Oh, it is so good, and it's so funny. So I came out of the theater super excited. I rushed over to Alex. I was like, did you like it? What did you guys think?
It was okay.
I liked it.
It was a good movie, but
Okay, I got a little bit more tepid response the first time, and then I threatened his life.
No, we talked immediately after the theater what
Yep.
we were going to review, so I'm curious to see if what, after this,
Yeah.
if we're still at the same spot.
Okay, interesting. You might have changed your ratings. Let's talk a little bit about it. So they set it up. It's Billy Batson, who is
An asshole, a
an-
thief, a vandal. He robs a crippled boy who's an orphan.
does.
He
Does
steals
rob a
$500
crippled
from
boy.
a crippled boy. And this is the champion of Shazam.
Yes, but that's what you don't understand is that Billy Batson has flaws, and
He
the
stole
wizard.
from a crippled child.
That's correct. That is correct, but he is pure at heart, and he's good deep down inside, but he's going through a lot of problems at this point in his life. Where does he belong? Did his mother just leave him? He's searching for his mother. That was a really great subplot, and it paid off in an adult way, in a way that I didn't think a kid's film or a family film would approach. Eventually, he finds his mother later on in this plot line. Remember, this is the spoilers there. And she's like, basically, yeah,
I was 17. I didn't want you.
I didn't want you. I left you behind. I was stressing out. And, the first time they show the scene, he's in the carnival with his mom and he gets lost. And I'm like, bitch, you barely, you just let go of his hand. You can't find him? But it turns out she just didn't want him. So, but that is dealt with, and it's so. Yes, he's a little bit of an asshole right there, but just because you do bad things from time to time doesn't mean that you don't deserve the powers of Shazam.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying the depiction. Well, I had some problems because I'm familiar with the Shazam character. I did read some comics, and not a ton. Everyone on the internet.
And then you
read
also
more.
understand the subplot where the wizard is going to die.
No, I get it. I
He has
get
to
it.
pick Billy
They just-
and hope. It's like a Hail Mary pass. Is the kid's good enough? And hopefully he does the right thing.
I'm not saying that, no, he shouldn't have. They just went a little
Okay.
overboard
Okay.
with, he's misguided. He broke a window.
Mm-hmm.
He, imprisons some cops. He steals their lunch, which I thought was hilarious. Like, there's humor in this, was great. But then he steals $500 from an orphan cripple boy that he just met.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about the bullet. That he was going to resell the bullet.
It's his prized possession. He's like, look, this is my thing. This bounced off
that-
Superman. It's worth $500-$600. And even if, he thinks it's value because he steals it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the thing that they set up in the trailer, which I thought was going to be like the redeeming moment, made it even worse.
But what's your point, though, Alex? That's the point of setting him up. He actually goes through a character arc.
The point is, so we'll finish that point. His new friend, brother, gets hit by a car. He gets pushed over. He gets punched. He gets kicked and kicked and kicked. And he just puts his hood up and walks away.
Yeah, I didn't like
The
that.
only time he comes to his rescue and he says, I'm beating you up because you ain't got no mom. And
You're
he's
right.
like, I ain't got
Yeah.
no mom. All right,
Yeah.
I'll hit you and run away. So they really over-set up this misguided youth thing to the point where he's kind of an ass.
Yeah.
And I get
You didn't
it.
want him
And
to
I-
get powers.
I didn't want him to be that overboard, right?
Right.
Like, he didn't need to steal the bullet.
Okay.
I like the whole he can redeem himself, but they put him really far in the pit.
That whole getting beat up situation, they're beating up a cripple. He only cares when it bothers him.
Yeah.
You're
He's
right,
like,
guys.
He's like, I don't care about humanity or other people at all, but you make fun of my mom.
I remember
it's
this
in
part
me.
now in the
Yeah.
film. I remember it rubbing me the wrong way. The
Yeah.
fact that he only turns around when they say, you ain't got no mother. And he's like, well, I don't have no mother,
Yeah.
and now I'm gonna kick your
It
ass.
wasn't about
It was
the kid
selfish.
getting his ass beat.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't think that it
You
went
can forgive
too
it, and
far.
that's fine.
That's what. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things that brought the film
Yeah.
down for you a little bit. I think it completes his character arc. It shows that people are flawed, and you can be going through a phase. And I think he was just going through a phase at that particular time where he's just out of control and spiraling out of control. And this is why I think this is a great film. It's a great family film too. This film has a lot of messages to talk about family and where is home, what exactly is a home, and that just plays so perfectly because of the foster orphanage home thing that they have here.
That was one thing that they did fantastically well.
The
like
little
start
girl
to
was
finish,
cute.
it was great.
All of these little side characters are, they don't have really much to say. The foster children don't really have a whole lot to say initially, but you like them. You like them all, and you can see that these new family members are trying. They're trying to set them straight or show them a positive example, and it's great because this is exactly like the comics, and Billy just being this runaway and just being out of control, and Shazam. And what I think the film shows, and then it comes to the forefront, Billy needs Shazam, and he needs that to give him some direction in life. And then, he uses his powers very irresponsibly, right? Initially,
for a
when he gets
very
them.
long time.
Yeah.
For a long ass
That
time.
was my
But I love that. That's the part I loved when he was exploring his powers. All the scenes where they're fucking around.
I agree. I think when
makes the film for me.
that coming
Because
into
that's
himself
what would happen if you're a 14-year-old.
for sure. I agree. I think it was wonderful. I loved every part of that. But then, how many scenes did we have of him panhandling? Or taking selfies for money, or beating up someone.
They beat that horse. They beat that horse real
two
hard.
or three is not beating the horse.
This movie
for
was
money.
2 hours and 40 minutes. You need to trim it down
Yeah.
a little bit. And he panhandles at least 2-3 times. He takes selfies for money a couple times. He beats up a mugger and then gets money. They kind of beat it over the head a couple times.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. He's irresponsible.
Okay,
Let's
you
get
just
to
wanted one panhandling scene.
I
one
think they
selfie
set
scene.
it up really well for like the first 45 minutes, but they had like an extra 30 minutes of it where it was like you could have cut that because I mean even I said I looked at my phone the first time he's panhandling and he does the thing with the bus and he catches the bus. That was an hour and like 16 minutes into the film.
Okay, you said what are you
Yeah.
saying? It lacks action?
No, it took too long to establish. Like they reestablished things. Too
Okay,
many
well,
times.
the reason why I brought that up is because before we started the thing, y'all said it lacks action.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it lacked. There's a serious lack of satisfying action scenes in this movie.
I disagree.
Well, yeah, I know,
I
but
disagree
there are
completely.
lots of scenes with action in them, and none of them involve Shazam. The coolest action sequence is when the Seven Sins come out in the boardroom, and they throw them out the window and like
Yeah.
eat
That was
them.
so good.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
And let's count the number
The
of times.
the doctor goes back, so they set up the doctor,
Yeah.
and he's a kind-hearted kid, but his father's an asshole, his brother's an asshole. They almost have a wreck. They scream and yell at him. And then it cuts away, and Shazam, the wizard, was thinking about giving the powers to this particular kid. But it turns out he goes for the evil because they've got the 7 deadly sins trapped, and they're like, we can give you better power, more immediate power. And he goes for that, and the wizard's like, get out of here. So that's who this villain is, this guy who had the opportunity to be Shazam, the champion Shazam, but didn't and went with these evil demons. Later on, the demons are able to break free. They possess him, and it's just a fantastic scene when he goes back to his father and his brother, and he's like, hey, you remember how you treated me before and what you said and that I was a liar? And the brother's all trying to like bow up to him like, get out of here.
Don't make me throw you out of here.
Yeah, and he's like, picks him up, fucking throws him out the window, like murders his
It's
brother.
50 stories, too.
It is so good. It's like fucking evil as hell.
Yeah.
And those demons proceed to rip people to shreds, bite their heads off, and mutilate them. You don't see none of this.
Yeah,
you don't see any of it. It's very bloodless. It's a little cartoony. But I'm happy that they did approach the 7 deadly sins because they could have twisted it into something else in different interpretation. I'm glad they stuck to the comics. And even showed demonic forms in a kid's film. So I'm happy about that. But I disagree. I think there's plenty of action. He fights. I like how the demons right away, for a villain, tell him, stop fucking around. Go and attack Shazam.
Kill him before he
Kill
figures
him
out his
before
right.
he learns how to use his powers. And that's exactly what happened. They're fucking around. They're doing more selfie shit. And he just floats in, and everybody behind him, and everybody's like, oh, fuck. And they don't even notice him. And then they start to go at it, and they converse, and there's a battle right there. They fly through the city, and that's what the scene with the little kid fighting with Superman and Batman and stuff.
Oh, that's way later. That's
way
at the end of the
later
film.
at the end
Okay,
of the film.
yeah, I'm mixing the two. But yeah, they
So-
initially have a fight there.
It's not a fight.
It's not
he,
a fight.
He gets beat up and then runs away for
Yeah,
20
he's a
minutes.
He
fucking
runs
fight.
away.
He
for
doesn't
like
throw- he doesn't-
30
It's
minutes.
a fight. It's a one-sided fight. He's throwing him
It's
through
not,
buildings.
though.
They're going through department stores. They're going through
Because
toy
he doesn't
aisles.
try. The bad guy's not
I don't
trying
give a
the
fuck.
entire
And then he
time.
tries later.
It's
That's
still-
the fucking point.
it's
Do you
still 30
understand a
minutes of it.
fucking arc? You go up against a villain, you get your ass kicked, you realize what you need to do, and then you overcome the problems, and then you fight the villain again. So there's a battle at the end.
Yeah.
And then since this is the spoiler section, let's talk about the Marvel family. So I didn't expect them to do this.
I didn't want them to do this.
You didn't want them to do
I,
this.
want them either.
beforehand, I was like, that is really ambitious. I think it was handled very, very well
Mm-hmm.
for that ambition, because a lot of times they kind of their ambition.
They could have fucked it up
they're
really bad.
Yeah. But I think they did a pretty good job.
And they actually executed it really good. But I will agree with you in the sense that the film didn't need it. Right?
Didn't need
it. You could have saved that for film number 2. Maybe drop some hints here, but they went full on Marvel family, and I'm calling it Marvel because it used to be called Captain Marvel, and I guess I should call it the Shazam family. They went full Shazam family. There's 6 of them now, including, which is weird. I thought there was supposed to be 7 total, but I guess you can count Black Adam is the 7th, maybe, because they had a lot of Easter eggs. There's 7 deadly sins. He's on floor 7 when he finds his mom. His mom is room 707. A lot of 7 things.
Mm-hmm.
So I was expecting 7 Marvel family members, but there's only 6 as far as I am aware. But anyway, so Del, what did you think about the Marvel family? Did you like the fact that they were in the film?
It felt shoehorned in.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like they just did that as like a plot device at the end of the film, and because like they spent,
Well-
they spent.
Well, that's exactly
no,
why they
don't
did
interrupt
it.
me.
Okay.
Just calm. They spent the entire film building Shazam,
Mm-hmm.
and then he doesn't even do most of the fighting at the end of the film. It should have been like his character, like full come to term. He beats the bad guys. He figures out he's powerful. But like most of the 7 sins are fought by them, and he just fights Envy and the main bad guy. And so like my problem with that was like that was his chance to rise to the occasion, and then in the next film he gets his ass beat because he's overconfident. But instead they were just like, okay, he can't even beat like this guy one-on-one. Let's just break him apart.
Okay, this is why I disagree with you, and I have to wait till you finish. Alex, I need to respond to
let
this
me
first.
I know what you're going to say.
What am I gonna say?
And so
I'm going to let you interrupt me this time since I do it so much to you.
I get why he did it, right? And I think shoehorn's the perfect fit because it's like, oh, you overcome it through family and the sense
There
of
we
tribe.
go.
But it was
set up in the film about family.
I get it.
That's why there's the payoff at the end that
He
as a
gets it too.
family, as a unit, no, he's saying that Shazam needs to have all the glory and Shazam needs to fight all 7 sins. That's not what this is about. That could be the second film. The guy literally just got his powers. He's testing his flight. He's testing if he has invisibility. It's almost in the same sense that Man of Steel, when he had to fight 40 Superman, he's not a trained military soldier. He has to do this now or people are going to die.
Yeah.
And that's why I like that particular
I know
thing.
why. I know why he did it. I'm just saying the term. Like, it felt shoehorned. It's like I don't think that there was any shortage of the power of family or the
I don't
sense
think
that
so
family
at
was
all.
super important. I mean, they almost beat you over the head with it. I liked
Yeah,
it. I think it did a good
exactly.
job with it.
I guess you're right in
I
the
did,
sense he
I
could have done
didn't
that.
need it. I didn't need that
We didn't
scene.
need it
I
in
didn't
that
need
one,
these other like the DCEU is now twice the size it was. We have all these people that. Like, do we really need them right now?
Yeah,
like,
are they going to get contracts on their own?
Yeah,
and
like,
stuff
I
like
don't
that?
know.
No, they'll never be in their separate films. But in the Captain Marvel comics, he has the Marvel family. Captain Marvel in the Shazam comics, he has this family, and I guess they said, "Fuck it, let's do it right
Let's do
now."
everything.
Right, let's do everything. And you're thinking that brings the film down just a little bit more.
Well,
for you.
it's just
for me, it brings it up for me.
That's fine. This was a movie where I didn't see Shazam use his finger lightning once against any bad guy ever. He only did it against cans or trash cans.
The smart kid, the Asian kid that uses lightning.
Eugene was the only one, and he did it one time.
Shazam does use his lightning, though. He uses it on Envy when he says Shazam, and the lightning hits the demon. That's how he beats
We're
Envy.
talking about like the entire movie, though. He's like doing lightning on phones.
Oh,
doing,
no,
doing
lightning.
His
name is
primary
Captain
power,
Sparklefingers or whatever, and he doesn't use it ever.
He does. He charges people's phones.
Yeah.
Alex.
Yeah.
That's like the.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
He doesn't punch anybody.
Guys, they're saving this stuff for when he has to go up against Black Adam.
Sure.
Black Adam is going to fucking whoop his ass. He's going to use all of those things on him. And eventually Captain Marvel will do that stuff.
So you take away all of
Shazam will do that.
You take away all of the stuff that I wanted to see Shazam do here, and you're teasing me, and you're telling me that maybe I get it later on.
Right. Yeah.
Like, they set up this fight in the carnival where Wrath comes out, and he's the big bad guy. He's Hulk because he even does all the moves that Hulk does in the Marvel movies. And you're like, oh, finally, I get to see him hit somebody. I get to see him tackle someone. He's going to use lightning. And he goes to punch him, and then the guy just turns into smoke, and he pumps him on the other side, and the Hulk grabs his cape and does the Loki thing, and then he goes to do it again, and he turns into smoke again, and then he goes to hit him again, and he turns into smoke again. And so I didn't see Shazam one time do anything other than transform to beat anybody in this film. And I wanted to see him punch somebody. He threw him down on the ground once, but I wanted to see more from it. Like, he's a really powerful character.
Yeah.
Superman runs up, and how many times does he punch Zod in there?
They have a fighting punch-out battle at night in the city with a funny joke. One of the funniest jokes in the film where Mark Strong's character, Dr. whatever it is, I can't figure out what the freaking villain's name is, but he's like, I will rip out your guts and your entrails. And he's like, and then it cuts away to a long shot, and he's really far away. You cannot hear him. You can even listen. And it's just, what? And then it cuts back to the evil doctor, and I'm going to paint the walls with your blood. And I can't hear you. Ah, fuck it, let's fight some more. And they're fighting. That's
just,
a
like,
fight.
they hit one time.
They do this Superman thing where
they do, but you just don't see anything. It's done from far enough away.
That explains a little bit of the lack of action and why you guys would rate the film lower than me. But let me already go to final ratings, and let's bring in more spoilers. So the final ratings that I gave in my vlog review is I said, as a fan of Superman, as a fan of comics, as a fan of wanting DC to adapt their heroes in fun ways and comic accurate ways and embrace the silliness of the character, this is a 9 out of 10 for me. Now, my critical side says it's an 8 out of 10. This is 8 or 9, and I know I should subtract a point, and going forward, I'll subtract points, but not for this. I'm giving Shazam a 9 out of 10. So what are you giving Shazam?
I think I'm going to stick where I was at yesterday, and I think that this is a very strong 7. And I think that there was a lot of really enjoyable things about this. This is a good movie, but this is a flawed movie with side plots that go nowhere and are unnecessary. There's a scene in like 10 minutes of the movie where the little kid, the crippled boy's getting beaten up, and he goes, "Oh, you shouldn't beat me up because I know Shazam. He's going to show up during lunchtime." And it sets up like a one-line like motivational thing later on, but it's like 10 minutes of them fighting over, "I need you to be Shazam at lunchtime," and maybe a gag.
That was a great fucking scene. I thought it was fantastic.
You liked the little kids just being.
No, no. Are you talking about the fact that his friend didn't show up when he needed him most because he's off over here being selfish, and then by the end of the film, it comes together where he shows up and actually.
No, I didn't like that at all.
What? Why?
Because
Shazam is going. Billy Batson is going through a difficult period of his life.
Yeah.
They're not. He doesn't consider that kid, Freddy, his real family yet. By the end of the film, he considers him family, and he's a better person, and that's why he makes good on a big mistake that he made in the film. Which, by the way, might as well talk about it now since we're talking about it. Superman. Superman makes a cameo. I was so happy, but it was like a mixed happy because the camera was like panned a little bit, and you saw Superman walk in frame, and I was like, ah! But it never, like, it was like this. Like, what is this?
Well, he still has the mustache. They didn't
No,
want to
they
CG the mustache out.
No, he doesn't. Well,
No,
I
it's
would have.
$7 million for that.
Look, if that was the reason why they didn't do it, then fine. But it isn't. It's because they have no idea what they're going to continue
No one wants
with
to be in the
Henry
DCEU.
Cavill. I keep calling him Cavill, but whatever. Cavill. And I was really mad that you didn't get to see Superman's face. And I heard that he did film. Rumors is that he did film it, but they didn't know whether to use it or not. And I'm very angry that they didn't use Henry Cavill. But the key thing for me was that Superman was in the film. Superman, for me, is central to Shazam's character. It's a role model for him to look up to. It's you get to be Superman, kind of thing. And this film did that really well, and I'm happy that he was there at the end. But that's why
there's artificial drama because
maybe,
it's like you're like Billy's being selfish for not showing up.
Right.
What about the little kid saying, "Hey, you're my plaything. You show up and show these bullies." It's like it was a completely artificial scene.
No, I understand that too, but it was showing from both points of view how kids can have this warped view.
Oh, I get that. This movie was 2 hours
but you
and
see,
40
they both
minutes
learned
long.
it.
Yeah.
They both learned a lesson, and just because he shows up at the end and rewards the kid and this and that, it's not about, oh, I will be your plaything. It's about we're a family
I think
now.
what Alex
I'm doing
is saying
something
is
nice.
It was too long, and they kept like.
I loved how long it is.
The movie just made you feel like it was like they needed to. I don't know if they thought like the audience was stupid, and that's why they kept reiterating
Well,
it.
it's a kids movie,
But
and
yeah,
I
it's a
get
kids
it.
movie. But again, they're like, okay, I get the point. And then they were like, do you get it? 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 For like 40 minutes longer.
No.
Than it had
Well, the
to be.
DC
100. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop. I gotta get control of this review because this one will be an hour long. I want to talk about everything.
Well,
so
I'm
7 out of 10.
Yeah, 7 out of 10.
And what were you gonna say?
I was saying the DCEU was a car going to be plummeting off a cliff.
Right.
And what they did is they did a really hard course correction with some of the more recent things. And I think they did a really good job. This is absolutely in the right direction.
I was trying to say that this one course corrected, but no, it's actually Wonder Woman, and then it's actually even more so Aquaman.
Well, Wonder Woman was like, I don't know if it was an accident or not, because after that we got Justice League, and who knows what happened.
I'm trying to get to Dell's
sure.
review.
I'm at a 7.
A 7. Okay.
Like I said, it's
I thought you were gonna go lower, and I thought I
No.
would have to jump across that
No,
table.
No.
I'm right there with Alex in a 7. I think that the action was unrewarding, like a lot. Like it was just too long, and I
He's
get
14 years old.
I get what they were trying to do with like reiterating, oh, there's drama. It's like the whole like okay, it's a family thing. But they overdid that so much. And I wasn't kidding when I said I checked my phone because I was like, this movie's been going for an hour and a half. What the hell's happening?
Yeah, you're entitled to your opinion. And
so I'm at a 7. And I think that if they had cut out like 30 minutes of the scenes they'd already basically, like here's an example, the panhandling. They could have cut out 2 of the panhandling scenes and it wouldn't have hurt the movie at all.
Okay.
Like at all. And I mean, at that point, we already know he's doing like shady things and using it for money and stuff.
Well,
and
okay. So they wanted the film to be shorter, and they're finding ways to make it shorter, and they want to emphasize more of the action. That's completely fair, and I understand how maybe putting in the Marvel family overstuffs the film. These are all actually valid points. It's just that I thought that it was done so well, adapted so well. The comedy was working. The being a hero is fun again. That I wanted more, and because the film is longer, I was just enjoying everything that I was getting, and I was surprised that they're adapting the Marvel family already, and they did the Marvel family justice too. So they're doing all this stuff really well. The thing I can agree with is it needed a little bit more action, and some of the times there may be a little too much comedy, especially in some of the more serious moments or badass moments where they undercut it a little bit with comedy. But if any film is going to do that, it's going to be a film about a 14-year-old boy getting the powers of Superman. It's going to be one that's cheesy. And I mean, look at his costume, for Christ's sake. It's super cheesy because they didn't evolve his costume. It's still the 1950s, 40s version. So I like the fact that it was silly. I like the fact that they embraced it. And David Sandberg, who directed this, who is a YouTuber, directed a bunch of YouTube short films, did Annabelle Creation, did Lights Out, did a fantastic, wonderful job. And you can tell he's an actor-based director. And the actors in this, Zachary Levi, this film would not have worked without Zachary Levi, in my opinion. I think that he is the perfect Shazam. He does it perfectly. So let's go into spoilers and talk about some of the nitty-gritty here. So initially, the Wizard. I want to talk about the Wizard. when I'm trying to buy something so ridiculous and stuff, and you miscast an actor, it really takes me out of it. I think the old Wizard was miscast. And the reason why is because this Wizard is from Marvel. I
He's
recognized
also
him.
DC. He was in Aquaman. He was one of the kings of the tribes in Aquaman too.
Holy, Jesus!
everywhere.
Why does he need so many
agent
roles?
Is really good.
He does not need that many roles. You could have got somebody who looks like the Wizard from the comics. This did not need to be an actor-centric, thing because it pulled me out. I was seeing Zorath. I don't even know his name in Marvel. He's the Star-Lord? Who guy? Yeah. That's what I always call him. The Star-Lord who guy is the Wizard. I hated it. It sucked. It pulled me out of it. I was like, I can't unsee the fake beard and the makeup. It was bad. You fucked up the Wizard. I was going to call him the Grand Wizard, and that's not the same franchise. Okay, and then what else? Let's see.
I figured out how to put it. As far as like my the movie too.
You want to go back to the 7?
Yeah,
why did you lose that 2 points?
So just to summarize it well, they spent way too long on things that they'd already addressed that they could have spent on explaining things like the Shazam family. Mm-hmm. Like they put that in the last 25 minutes. That like extra 30 minutes of panhandling, they could have cut 20 minutes off of that.
Not 30 minutes of panhandling.
There's a lot.
I can't stand this. I can't stand. Okay,
but anyway. they could have put way more of that time they spent on reiterating things into the end of the movie.
It's important that this film really focus on the wish fulfillment of becoming a superhero, of a boy getting the powers and doing that, and they focus there, and that was one of the strengths of the film. Dell feels it's not one of the strengths of the film. It was spinning its wheels. It was a strength, but then it started to spin its wheels.
I think they're separate things because I love the parts that you loved where they're doing the YouTube videos and like test flight and seeing if he's immune to fire and bullet immunity. I loved
just because when they get into a fight and the camera shows he's continuing to panhandle, it's not a whole new panhandling scene. It has nothing to do that. It has to instead do with, dude, what are you doing? You're being a piece of shit. You have responsibilities because you have all these powers. That is not the same thing as more wheel spinning. That is new character development. That is a conflict that's showing up and building and growing our character. So let's get back to the spoilers discussion because I understand why you give it a 7 and I understand why you give it a 7. I love the fact that they put a big reference in there. Did y'all get the big reference? So funny. The villain is on the piano and he's on the piano. I was thinking that they were going to actually do a dance scene, but they didn't do no dance scene. What are some of the other sort of spoilers discussions that you can think of?
I just like the Mortal Kombat reference.
Oh, yeah, that's so good. I just saw Ed Boon tweet that he heard that there is a Mortal Kombat reference. Shazam is playing Mortal Kombat with Freddy. They're having a lot of fun. He's like, finish him. And they reference finish him, I think at the end of the film after they beat the villain.
There's also when he does the Hadouken.
Yeah, Hadouken. So there was Street Fighter in it as well.
Eugene did it because Shazam doesn't use his force lightning.
Use his lightning.
Yes, that's true. The bullies, they got their up-and-comings. These guys were just being dicks. And in a sort of school bully thing, you need the bullies in the film.
They hit a crippled kid with a car.
Yeah, these
like
guys
they went
fucked.
way overboard on the school bully thing. Like those kids would have been in jail after their first scene. You hit a crippled boy with a car and then beat him up in the street. You go to jail.
And nobody's defending this kid.
Even his own brother doesn't defend him.
Eventually he does. But so finally they take this big ass truck, which I think is a Ford Raptor, but it says like dude in the front. I guess they didn't have Ford branding or whatever. Anyway, it slams on the fucking ground and it's torn to pieces. And then later on, they're on the Ferris wheel when the final battle is happening at the carnival, and they're about to fall out, and it is the cripple kid, Freddy, that saves them.
He gives them wedgies.
And he gives them wedgies as he lifts them away. So they sort of concluded that. But I kind of wish that they would have done a scene where it's like, I'm Freddy, but I guess you don't want to let them know that I'm the crippled kid you guys have been making fun of because they're trying to hide their identities. But if you notice, huge plot hole, there are phones everywhere. Like, everybody is always filming stuff. Yeah. Everybody's always listening, and there is no secret identities here. They cannot maintain secret identities. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next film. Let's talk a little bit about the stingers, and then we can jump back into the film. So give me 1 second here because the battery's about to go out. Okay, guys, I put new batteries in, so let's jump right back into this discussion. So spoilers, the stingers, the end credits. There's the first one, and then there's a second one. If you stay till after the credits, it's not worth it, in my opinion. It's just simply Shazam looking at a goldfish, and he's like trying to talk to it to see whether he could converse with fish. And I guess they filmed that one real quickly when Aquaman made $800 million or something like that because he's so popular. And I was expecting a Jason Momoa cameo. I was like, okay, so they couldn't get Henry Cavill, so let's get Jason Momoa. But he doesn't show up. They just like, yeah, he's got an army of millions of fish.
I like that scene.
And I was like,
it was another one of the humorous things where they're trying to figure out what his powers are. He's specifically going, can you talk to fish? Because there's this whole Aquaman movie that made money. So
all right, I see that. Oh, but the real one, set up the real one. The one that started is basically the villain is lost. He's in prison and he's writing all these glyphs.
It's the end of every single. The bad guy loses and is in prison, and he's in prison, and there's some bigger bad
ding,
guy,
ding, ding.
and
the bell, ding 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 ding. The bell cannot be unrung. Yeah. Lex Luthor, no. So he's in there, and then a little caterpillar dude is
Mastermind.
Mr. Mind, I think it's called. Mr. Mind, a fictional character, super villain. Yeah. Basically, he's like a super intelligent little bug, and he's mastered some of the magical realms, and that's why he's talking about there are other ways to obtain magic. Yeah. And his main thing is he puts together sort of like a supervillain group, not what's the name? Legion of Doom, but this other one that's more magical based kind of group. So I guess it's hinting at that well, shit, you've got 6 super powered Captain or Shazam characters to deal with. We're going to need to form a supervillain team. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what that's setting up. But I love the way he sounds, and I love the fact that it's fucking stupid with a caterpillar. So when we first started to do Guardians of the Galaxy, people were like, nobody's going to buy a talking raccoon. Nobody's going to buy this thing that's crazy, and it worked out. Now we're going even stupider with a robotic caterpillar and magical realms and these alligators. You remember those alligators in one of the magical realms? Like, they're playing cards or something. I want to see this stupid shit. I want to see if they can execute it as well. Probably not. They're not going to execute it as well as Guardians of the Galaxy, but I don't want it to like fall on its face. I want a good adaptation of this magical realm stuff because it's cool as fuck. What else? Unfortunately, no Black Adam. No Black Adam cameo. I was hoping that they would hint at Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam. Yeah. Notice
he's a producer, though.
His name credit is in there. He's a producer of the film. So I guess there's just a wait-and-see approach to see how well it does. Guys, please go see this film because I'm going to cry. I really need to see Superman and Shazam in the same film with Black Adam. There's already an animated film like that, and I just want them to. I want to see the live action version of that. Henry Cavill, Zachary Levi.
Well, they have to make sure Cavill
Dwayne
wants to come
Johnson.
back.
That's true, and that's.
I'm wondering. Now I'm starting to wonder if the problem was Henry or if the problem was WB, because you gotta wonder that.
Well, they chased off Affleck too. He doesn't want to be a part of anything that they'll do now.
Yeah.
So it's got to be them.
I don't know, man. It's, but it's like. If I was Henry Cavill, I'd do it for free, But I think there is some agent negotiation.
Oh yeah,
he's like, I would just like put me in there for free,
Isn't he doing the Witcher stuff?
He's doing the
too?
Witcher,
So
but he did have time to film a scene apparently. Yeah. So I'm pissed that they didn't use him. I hope in the DVD, if eventually it's announced that they are using Henry Cavill in the future, that they'll release that deleted thing and actually get the complete thing. Because it bothered me so much that we didn't see Superman's smiling face and everybody looking up to him like, oh, Man, it's so good. But there was plenty of cameos, plenty of references, and at the end they've got this great drawn sequence where he meets some of the other heroes. We don't know whether that actually happened or is it just a little kid's imagination of him doing it, because he meets Wonder Woman, takes her to prom or something.
It's just drawings.
It's just drawings, and Aquaman and Batman, and beats up Batman or something.
He steals his Batmobile.
There's great stuff like this. This is truly an awesome film. But okay, so going back, was there any other things we missed or points that you wanted to make? It would have been cool to have Billy go back to the cop that he was messing around with as Shazam. I think that would have wrapped up a little bit of initially what had happened there. Yeah. Didn't y'all want to talk about something?
Oh, one thing that I kind of wanted to see that they led off with as soon as he becomes Shazam is he stops a mugger and is kind of like discovering his powers while like beating up a mugger.
Yeah.
I think that one of the problems I had is I wanted more between that scene and him, getting beat up and running away. Like more like relevant scenes that show him figuring out his powers, show him beating up like little non-super bad guys. I think that would be something that probably would have satisfied me a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that would have done the same thing where it's like, look, you beating up muggers isn't worthy of everything that is Shazam, right? You can be doing better than beating up some dude and then asking for $20. I think that's probably what I wanted to see a little bit more in the middle of the film.
More of the growth at the end, because it's okay that he does that initially because he's a 14-year-old kid.
Yeah.
But by the end, you want him to really transform into the Shazam or the Captain Marvel.
Yeah, and that's what I said too. And I mean, and again with the Shazam family being shoehorned in, they literally use the entire movie of him figuring out his powers, and then all of them know how to use their powers
except for Mary. She does nothing. She does nothing the entire fight other than be tangled up. Like I was actually upset. It's like
she did no. She threw him by his tentacles, but she did. Probably not as well as everybody.
But I mean, like everyone immediately knowing how to fly and use lightning and all that other stuff. I was like, that's what I meant by shoehorned. Is like you spent an hour and 40 minutes him figuring out how to do these things, and then suddenly all of them know how to do it.
I get that Freddie would know how to do it because he's probably been dreaming of it every day.
Yeah,
of his
Freddie
life.
even says like, "Oh, you done fucked up. I studied all of the superhero moves," and then he runs away.
Yeah. I mean, but if they would have had even more building, I agree with you. They could not have had the family because then that would have been even more like, okay, it took him like days and weeks to figure this out. Why are they able to do everything like that?
It seemed like they were almost trying to imply that each one of them had a piece of the different magics, but that's not how it is in the comics. They're supposed to all have those powers. Maybe not quite at the level of Shazam, or maybe equal level of Shazam. I haven't read enough Shazam comics to know, but I
researched all of them because I didn't know, and like they all have their own.
They're supposed to all have.
Yeah, like and Mary's powers are kind of bad. Where it's like you have the grace of, it's like you give him like strength and power and courage, and she gets grace and beauty. It's like, no, come on, like give her something good.
Yeah, but
she has strength,
there's been times where they get all the different powers, and then there's times where they get specific powers. So I wanted to know if they had specific powers, because it looks like the one that runs really fast, she never really flew. She just running fast in order to do it. So so I guess their powers are split in that sense. But man, I really could have used. There's no Black Adam. There's not even a reference to Black Adam. I wanted a little bit, like when the demons are taunting the wizard and they're like, "You haven't found your champion. You've already failed once." Something like that. But then that leads me to believe that the lore is actually going to be maybe before the wizard's time or something, where this happened millennia ago or thousands of years ago or something like that. I think that's probably the direction they're going to take. And does he rule Kandar? Does he? And is it like Wakanda, where it's secretly hidden in this world somewhere?
Yeah, they got his worlds already.
He rules his own fucking kingdom. Yeah. And I'm wondering how that's going to factor in. But after this film, do you guys want to see a Black Adam film?
Yeah, I'd see a Black Adam film.
Yeah, I mean,
a solo Black Adam film?
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's if they just stick to this sort of thing, because like I said, we gave it a 7. It's a good.
I like this movie.
We could see sequels and stuff.
I think the problem that I have, and one of the reasons that kind of bothers me about this film is again, everyone on the internet is horrible, but everyone on the internet's like, this is a 10 out of 10. It's the perfect movie. Nothing's ever been flawed about it. This proves that DC is better than Marvel, and I don't care either way. I just want to see new movies.
Yeah.
But if you say that movies are perfect, that leaves no room for improvement,
Right,
right?
exactly.
And there's like,
Yeah.
I would love comic book movies so much
Yeah.
that I mean, there are watch some of our other reviews, and I give comic book movies like way too high of a rating because I love them. I grew up
love
reading
it. That's
comics.
why I'm giving them.
I get it. I'm not
All
saying like you're wrong or stupid for liking it, because I did the same thing with half the Marvel movies. It's like if the Marvel movies weren't anywhere near as good as films as
Yeah.
I gave ratings, because it reminds me of being a little kid and reading those comics and loving them. But
Well, now you understand why I gave it a 9 out of 10. 'Cause
I do.
This is I
do.
really think kids will like this film if they're not in that phase. I'm too cool for this.
guys-
But you
Yeah.
know that recapturing your childhood. It's
I just want movies to
perfect
take
for
my godsons to that I can also be there going like, yeah, beat him up. And I saw him running away for 30 minutes. It's like, no, I want you to beat him up. Just eventually figure out and beat him up and show me a scene where he beats him up. I don't need to see any more of this.
Look, the real question is when are they going to do the Darkest Night timeline and go
That
through
would
all
be
that
fucking awesome.
and do
that
level
could
of
be
shit.
that could be DC's saving grace. They've already fucked up Justice League.
Yep.
So what they could do instead of trying to do Justice League 2
They need
and
to do
trying to
that
recapture
straight
the
into it.
magic, which may not work, is do an even bigger event than Marvel where you try to do Blackest
And-
Night.
yeah, the Blackest Night or whatever. And they like the dark, broody crap, and that timeline is dark as that's like their Infinity War level.
Yeah, so we'll
of
see.
crazy.
And I hope I'm still alive by then. But I'm happy that I'm still alive to see Avengers Endgame. And I'm really excited for that. So I thought that this film had so much love, passion, creativity, fun, jokes. It understood the character of Billy Batson. It understood Shazam. And it was just a fantastic adaptation of, honestly, the cheesiest, stupidest looking generic kind of hero. You know what I mean? From the outside looking in. If you don't know who Shazam is and you haven't read the comics, you think, he's a rip-off Superman with magic or something.
Didn't he come
but
first?
But they did. No, Superman was first. And it was really close. I mean, they came right about the same time. Superman was
Because
first.
like when Superman first came out, he didn't have any. He had some powers, like he could jump real far, but he couldn't fly yet.
Right.
I don't know.
No,
Someone will
he
explain to me
does-
in the comments
Yeah,
while
no.
calling me bad
they're
things.
they're very close to each other, but Superman was first.
Yeah.
But I hope in the future we see a real cameo of Superman where they fight together, they fight against each other. I don't care. I want them both in the same film. And it probably won't happen in Shazam 2. That'll probably be, hints at Black Adam. I don't
What's
know how
next-
they're going to go.
What's
I don't
next
know
on their
what they're doing.
timeline? We've got Suicide Squad 2, Sirens, and like, is there anything else big announced for them? I mean, I imagine they've got Aquaman 2 in the works or something with him because of how popular that film
Yeah,
is. But
I don't know. I mean, DC is unpredictable because like they keep rebooting shit. So
well, they're reacting, right? And
yeah,
so
it's knee jerk.
So it's
yeah.
Joker. Joker's next, October the 4th this year.
But that's
Then
not
it's-
part of their
That's
universe.
not part of this universe.
Right,
I
and then
thought,
there's
yeah.
Birds of Prey, which is in the universe.
okay.
That's 2020. That's going to be the next one. Then Wonder Woman 1984, 2020. Then The Batman in 2021. Man, it's taking them so long, and there's no fucking Superman film here.
Well,
Fuck!
who's-
And the Suicide Squad 2 is the 2021, the same year Batman comes in.
Do we know
so
who
they
Batman
can
is?
Organize, and they don't call it the Suicide. They call it the Suicide Squad instead of Suicide Squad because it's like a reboot with some of the same actors. Idris Elba is going to replace Will Smith, but Harley Quinn is still going to be played by Margot
Diablo
Robbie.
was great.
Aquaman
I thought
2
she
is
wasn't
coming?
in the movie. I
What?
thought she wasn't going to be in the Suicide Squad.
It was initially announced she isn't. Now it is. She is because she's
Oh.
doing Bird of Prey, blah, blah, blah. Anyway,
Okay.
Aquaman 2, of course, the movie
Yeah.
made a fuck ton of money. That is scheduled for 2022. And then the rest of this is TBA. The Trench. I hope they don't do that. That's the enemies in Aquaman. Flash. It was recently announced that they canceled the Cyborg film.
Yes.
Yeah. No big loss there.
We need another Green
Batgirl
Lantern.
had a lot of steam until Josh dropped out, Whedon, and now they need to find somebody to write it. Green Lantern is still up in the air. New Gods to be developed. Black Hawk to be developed. Jared Leto Joker lost steam to be developed, and Supergirl rumored. Nightwing rumor. Justice League Dark is in development
Oh,
hell
yeah.
because they're supposed to have Guillermo del Toro.
But they did the animated one a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I would just say, like, with DC, don't ever say what's happening until it's the year before it happens, just because they change it seems like every 5 minutes they're like, this person, not this person, this
I
movie,
have to
not
scroll
this movie.
so far down
Yeah.
to find the untitled Man of Steel sequel, which it doesn't look very good because they're thinking that they're going to instead focus on Supergirl. That's like the last rumors that they're going to focus on Supergirl, who might show up in her film.
Give me a Martian Manhunter instead.
But
If you're not going to give me
so mad.
Superman, give me something that's kind of, sort of.
No, you're going to give me fucking Superman.
All right, let's just do Crypto and have the dog. We can have a dog.
I'll
movie.
do it. I'll watch it, but I want fucking a Superman sequel where you can see Clark Kent. I want Henry Cavill, and if I don't get a Henry Cavill, you better make me happy in some way by providing, a crossover that's gonna be fucking sweet. But anyway, so yeah, DC Universe I think is on track.
It's
We've
getting better.
It's getting better. In my opinion, Man of Steel was a great film, but I consider it an Elseworld story. Even though that one started it, I think the dark time is over, and now we start with Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Shazam. These are 3 solid films. Shazam, really good. Aquaman, good. Wonder Woman, fantastic, except for the third act and the stupid villain. But, we're going to see better. We're going to see sequels to all of those. And I hope Shazam does well. Please help Shazam. Go out and watch it. And yeah,
I still hope that they keep Batman the way they had him established, because Batman
a
murdering
darker
people,
Batman.
That
murdering
warehousey-
people was sick. Like that was a good timeline alteration.
People
Everyone got
resisted
mad.
it at first, where you're not
Yeah.
supposed to kill as Batman, but you guys like the fact that he is scary as
He
fuck.
breaks. Okay, so he didn't kill you, but he broke everyone's spines and femurs, and they bled
He
out
killed
somewhere else.
people with a minigun.
Yeah.
he straight
He
killed
did
those
murder
dudes.
somebody. Michael Keaton murdered
He threw-
somebody
yeah.
with a bomb in the sewer. He threw that guy in the
Yeah,
sewer with a
but
bomb.
I mean, that was with the Robin dead and like that whole timeline. So he was like dark as hell, and I hope they keep that because, that builds like for his next movie he could actually face that, and that's a good way to do Batman.
It just blows my
Yeah.
mind, Del, that Batman is no longer, and Batman and Superman are kind of up in the air.
Yep.
And what's carrying the DC universe? Aquaman and Wonder Woman, and now Shazam. Like they're side characters.
They are,
I'm
yeah, I
happy. I'm happy. But I want,
But
I
I'm
want
just
my
you're
boys
happy
to
but
come back.
disappointed. Yeah.
I need my boys to come back, and you fucked up, and I just want to hold somebody responsible for fucking
We need a
up
Lobo
Batman.
movie.
No.
A
No.
what? Lobo? Yeah, I think Lobo would be cool.
No.
All right, guys, that's it for us. Put your comments down below, and thank you so much for watching. And grab some merch that these guys are wearing there, and subscribe, hit the notification button, and thank you for supporting our show. I hope you guys enjoy.